it's another opportunity that I want us to still discuss about mood, tone, and attitude. And this time we are applying it in a poem. And the poem is called Return to the Site by Joseph Ndirangu. So I'll read the poem. It's not so long ago, only 4 years have passed. We left in a hurry, scurrying from our blazing dwellings, escaping with only our clothing, choking with tears we ran. From the mortal cries of the dying, war's cries escorted us past smoldering ruins. Today, I return to the site. Tears have long dried. The fires have long died, but scars run deep in mind and soul. I survey what I used to call home, overgrown with grass and shrubs, ghostly windowless houses. Airily stare back, like skull of a dugout cemetery, a sad reminder of the savage attack. Cautiously, I skip over debris. A lonely lizard runs across the front wall, stops as if to find its bearing, and disappears into crevice. Across the fence, the old neighbors gesture at me, mute. At the local market, I stop. My phone rings. It's my mother. We chat in my mother tongue. Fingers wag in my direction, making me wonder, when will the tribal ghosts of political chicanery disappear to kuzimu? When? So this is a poem where we see someone returning after they had been displaced by some tribal clashes. And in this case, it's 4 years down. Okay, it's 4 years have passed, and the expectation of the persona is that maybe when he comes back, he'll find things have changed. He'll be welcome. He'll be celebrated maybe. But the contrary happens, whereby in this case, instead of him being celebrated, they look at him coldly. They are mute. They cannot talk. So when you look at the whole of this poem, maybe you can ask yourself, what is mood? And remember we said mood is the general atmosphere in a poem, or what the poet is trying to make, the feeling that the poet is trying to create in a reader. So in this case, we are looking at a poem that gives us a nostalgic mood. And remember, I mentioned this in our previous episode, and I said that when we have a nostalgic mood, this is where you're taken back. So when you look at the first stanza, it's not so long ago, only 4 years have passed. We left in a hurry, scurrying from our blazing dwellings, escaping with only our clothing, choking with tears we ran. From the mortal cries of the dying, war's cries escorted us past smoldering ruins. So the whole of stanza 1 is trying to picture back what happened 4 years ago. And now when we picture back, we are having a nostalgic mood. So if you're asked, can you identify the mood in the poem? Be quick to say there's a nostalgic mood, because the poem is taking us back to something that happened 4 years ago, and you can pick a line to illustrate. So a point that you have to note in an examination situation is that when you are describing mood, you give the term, and then if it is in a poem, pick the lines that illustrates whatever you're trying to talk about. So in this case, you can have a statement like, only 4 years have passed. We left in a hurry. So that takes us 4 years ago, and that gives us a nostalgic mood. We can also have a sad mood captured in the same poem, because when you look at the whole poem, it's giving us a scenario whereby there was war, and then 4 years after that, the scars are still there, This person has come back, no one is talking to him, they're only pointing fingers. So that clearly shows that the enmity is still there. And now that creates a sad situation. And that's why we can also illustrate a sad mood. And maybe the statement that you can use to illustrate a sad mood is, the old neighbors gestured at me, mute. So they never talked to him. That already gives us a sad mood. There is also this last statement. When will the tribal ghosts of political chicanery disappear to Kuzimu? So Kuzimu is where we expect things to be forgotten. So this person feels like these are things that should be buried and forgotten. The memories of wars and maybe tribal clashes or misunderstandings. So in this case, we are having a sad mood. Now, to the attitude, somebody can ask you a question. What is the persona's attitude towards the old neighbors in the poem? Now, who is a persona? The persona is the person talking in a poem. So in this case, the persona is this person who has come back after 4 years of war. And now he's being given a cold shoulder, not welcome in a friendly way. So in this case, he is the persona. So what does he feel? Or what do you think is his feeling towards the old neighbors? When you look at the way he's describing them, trying to show how they looked at him and they only gestured and they were mute. They didn't say anything. And then his last statement, when he talks of him receiving a call and talked to the mother in their mother tongue, and now they started pointing fingers his direction, and at the end he says, when will this tribal ghost of political chicanery disappear to Kuzimu? So it means that he doesn't like whatever they're doing. So we can have a spiteful attitude. He hates what is going on. He hates their character of still holding to cruelty. He hates the fact that these people are still more of enemies than friends, even after 4 years have passed. So at the end of it all, we are seeing a contemptuous attitude, we are seeing a hateful attitude, we are seeing a spiteful attitude. He doesn't like them. He doesn't like their action and the way they are pointing fingers at him, the way they are mute, they cannot speak, they cannot say anything, and the way they are portraying that they are still holding some grudges. So according to him, he doesn't like them. And now that gives us a hateful attitude. And if you're describing that, you have to give the specific lines that qualifies whatever attitude that, whatever word that you're giving as the attitude in the poem. And now let me get to the tone. What is the tone captured in this poem? And when we talk about the tone, remember we said it is the choice of words that gives us the tone, where we describe it as the voice captured in the poem, and we get it through diction. And diction is the choice of words. So when we talk about the tone in this poem, we are looking at the last 2 lines, which I think is what is giving us the tone. When you have the persona saying, when will the tribal ghosts of political chicanery disappear to Kuzimu? When? So he's posing 2 rhetoric questions at the end of the poem. The questions disappear to Kuzimu and when? It's trying to show that there is no hope. The way the neighbors are behaving and giving a cold shoulder to the persona, it means that there is no hope of peace. So when there is no hope of peace, he's trying to bring the idea of pessimism. When you see no hope, it means that you are pessimistic. So in this case, I see a pessimistic tone. It is not known when peace will be restored. It is not known when these people will reconcile and hug one another. It's not known when these people will reconcile and welcome each other with a smile, with laughter and celebrate each other rather than just pointing fingers and remaining mute. So we can capture a pessimistic tone. So when we talk about tone, we look at the choice of words. So in this case, we are looking at the two last rhetoric questions, which gives us a pessimistic tone, and that concludes our session today. So when you're given a poem, you should always be comfortable to look for the mood, the tone, and the attitude, especially once you already know the meaning. It should not be a problem to you anymore. Till we meet next time.